Hello, good morning.
Hello. Hi,
It's morning where
Chris.
you are. It might not be morning where you are. It might be evening, or there is a saying, and it's true. Is that most of us spend half our time worrying about what's happened, what happened in the past, pondering over could it have been different, could I have, yeah, and then there's some validity in that, but a lot of the time we're spending trying to figure out stuff. And then the other half of our time, we're trying to work out what's going to happen, like next, and trying to control it or plan it or make sure everybody's okay, or like you can't do any, you can't control those outcomes anyhow. But the only bit that you can do anything about is the bit that's happening right at this moment now, this now moment, and there are all the future is a collection of millions of now moments. And the only part we've got any control over is I'm going to spontaneously do this or I'm spontaneously going to do that. And that's all we've got. We've got no other time whatsoever except for that moment. And then the next moment we do something else. And the next moment we do something else. And they're just collections of now moments put together. And I was just saying that what if, we spend all of our time worrying about all these other things. What if someone just whipped away those now moments and we didn't have any of them? I.e., there are no nows anymore. All you can do is worry about what happened and what's going to happen. You can't do anything else about. You can't do anything now. You can't change anything or do anything. It's like when you put it like that, the power of that now moment is there is nothing without now, is there?
It's very interesting. Yes, I agree with you. And there is all this talking about all you have is now. You need to be living in the now. And people would probably, and I was one of those people, say, oh, for God's sake, I'm so paranoid about this, what's going to happen in 2 days' time, or I'm so miserable about what happened 1 month ago, or last year, or 3 years ago. And you're telling me to be in the now, and all I've got is now. Is just go away, just leave me alone. This is, you don't understand. But when you twist it and reword it like this, okay, then you don't have the now. Go and worry about this and be anxious about that, and let's see how your life works then. And it makes
Mm.
it kind of come home how important this now moment that we have is, and and that we can actually do so much with it to change how we think about the past and to change how we foresee or perceive what's going to happen in the future. Powerful, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. I mean, the truth is that the only time we can alter anything is at this moment. We can decide to do this or we can decide to do that. We don't have any other choices. Well, yeah, there could be 50 different choices for now, but at the end of the day, we have to pick one. We have to decide to put one foot in front of the other and try something. And whether we don't see it this way or we do see it this way, every moment where we try something is a guess if it's going to work or not, isn't it? You can't say for sure that you do it because if you think about it, every single person and every single creature and every single thing has a now moment, right? And whatever's around us is coinciding with our now moment. So their now moment and our now moment are in the same moment, right? They're in the same time. And
Hmm.
regardless of what we think is going to happen, it's cause and effect, isn't it? So we do this and we have an impact on everything around us. Whether we see it or we don't see it, it doesn't matter. But we do have an impact. I push the chair this way and it goes into someone's leg and they go, oi, stop pushing that chair into me, right? It's a simple effect of me pushing the chair there because I wasn't observant, right? But I had an impact on that person. And when you think about it, if you multiply that up by billions, because there's all this bacteria and viruses and, well, maybe
Trillions more.
trillions of things going on. Molecules are there and submolecules and all this kind of stuff. And the impact of us making that decision, isn't it? Now, turn it around. We haven't made a decision, but everybody else, every other thing in the around us has made a decision.
It will impact
Like
our
it's
decision.
impact, like the thermostat breaks because it's got corroded and it's basically worn out, and now it doesn't work. Well, now what's happened is we've got cold, right? Because the heating's gone off. Now, the big, what we all sit there and say is, oh, look, the heating's gone off, that thermostat's old, it's gone, blah, blah, blah. We're finding a reason for it and everything else, and it's gone and we need to repair it. But the point is the environment has impacted us in some way because we're not alone here. There's all this other stuff going on around us. And basically, our decisions mean other things happen. Now, they might directly affect us in time. Like, say, for example, I decide I'm going to go put my shoes on because I'm going to go outside, right? Now I'm going to go outside and I slip over because I picked the wrong shoes, right? Now that impacted me. I could have made a better shoe selection. I don't have many shoes, so that's not a big problem for me. But but what I'm saying is that I can go, oh, I was stupid, or someone pushed me, or I fell over. No, you put the wrong shoes on, and that was probably what
Or
happened.
just you weren't
Later,
looking, or you weren't in the moment, because it
or I
did
weren't
happen to
looking.
me a few times in the summer where my head was ahead of me. The mind was thinking, I'm going to go over there now, and my legs were just still there. And what happened was I fell over because I was too rushing around to be going over there, not thinking where I am now.
Yeah, and I mean, like that happens to us all the time. And as you get older, I guess you basically spend more time being aware because you know what happens when you're not aware. You fall over, and then and you basically learn through experience. But it doesn't matter so much when you're like 15, does it? You fall over, you pick yourself up, and off you go again, grazed leg, and away you go. When you're 75, that's a broken hip. You know what I mean? It's like it's a more serious issue. So yeah, people change their behaviour, but ultimately, the more aware we are of what's going on around us, and the more we're in the now, we're basically taking in the input from what's going on around us, the better able we are to, if you like, operate. And I'm not saying that like some people might spend their time thinking about what's going to happen in the future, and they spend all their time in that zone, and they might be very good at like interpreting the various options that are going on, but no one knows, do they? It's like in the
Nobody knows, but
cryptocurrency world.
we
Yeah,
always, because everybody comes from a different place, and the what our past experiences have taught us has obviously left a mark, and our mind is like that, organized to keep us safe. So obviously we will be judging our next decision based on our previous experience, because we are probably the only, well, maybe also animals are a little bit like that. When you train them, when people start to interfere and they train them, they know what to expect when a certain behavior is requested in the present moment.
yeah.
But
It's
how
normally
we
food related. It's normally food related, though,
food
isn't it?
related.
You get a biscuit. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, I quite like a biscuit, so I'm going to do that.
But
Yeah.
it's just we make sense, we attach sense and intellectually perceive or add this meaning to the now because of what we've experienced. And it takes some awareness to be able to detach your present moment and what's going on around you with the emotional triggers that come from, well, the body will bring these up anyway. Well, I don't know about you, Chris, but it does to me. So I've been doing all this work on me to be able to center myself into the present moment and not be affected by whatever emotion comes up when it wasn't processed at the time, and now it's been triggered, it comes up, and it just needs to go through the cycles and emotions and be released.
I mean,
But for some reason, and it can only happen in the now, it can only happen in the present moment, because we can't change the memory, we can't foresee what's going to happen, but we can change it now in this moment.
Yeah,
How
my
and
mind.
the good thing is the body tells us what's going on.
I mean, this might happen over a period of time, but like for example, my mum, she wasn't happy unless she was worrying. She's one of those great worriers, you know. Like if she wasn't happy unless she was worried about something, and you know, I just don't follow that mantra. I just don't. I haven't picked that up from her. I've decided not to pick that up from her because you know, one thing I do know is that when I wait, things unfold which help me make a better choice. And I can't choose based on limited information because I have insufficient data to enable me to do that. So, you know, take Bitcoin for example, just as a side. The internet is full of people telling you what's going to happen to Bitcoin. And the bottom line is no one knows. No one knows. So how there's a whole industry related to predicting what Bitcoin's going to do when no one knows, and everybody that knows that no one knows, right? So, and yet there's
There is
people
just the
watching.
hope that somebody might know and tell us, because there is this
Yeah,
fear of not making
but no
money.
one knows. So the idea is you just wait until you feel you've got enough sufficient data to be able to make a choice, to make a selection. And sometimes you'll be wrong, and sometimes you'll be right. And it doesn't really. And like, if you want to play that game, that's the game. You say, yeah, you can increase your probabilities, and I think that's what it is. It's like these now moments. These now moments are full of potential, but no one can really. You have to look at the situation and just decide what you're going to do. And it's like it's all a risk. It is all a risk. It's an adventure because we don't know what's going to happen. We might like to think we do know what's going to happen, and to a certain extent, we can be in an approximate correct area of what might happen, but we never really know exactly what's going to happen. And you know, when most of the times you predict the future, you get it wrong, and most of the times you predict you look at the past and you poorly evaluate what happened. You know, like, because you didn't have all the data. So basically, you're only getting half the backstory, and you're making decisions about what you're going to do in the future, which you can't control either. So, you know, the only bit you can do anything about is what am I going to do next? What am I going to actually do next? What am I going to do next? Not what somebody else is going to do next. That's the other thing. Finding things for other people to do. At the end of the day, it's us that's got to
Yeah.
decide. You know, like the world's full of people finding jobs for other people. It's like, but
it's
what are
it's
you going to do?
it's very nice to hear this say, but again, it brings me this, because I'm listening to you, and I can imagine myself from, I don't know, a year ago or half a year ago, and now I can see what you mean, and I don't get triggered. But if I were to listen to you in my
Mm.
previous kind of persona, I would be like, oh, come on, you just talk about it because you read it in a book and you think you know, like, who told you this? How, it's not possible. It just, when my emotion comes in and grips me into, it's like, it holds me so tight, I can't think anything. I just need to go and cry. And you're
Mm.
telling me that I've got all my power. I don't.
Well, if you give it
So
away, that's for sure.
it takes some serious amount of personal development and personal growth to be able to do this, I think, from
Yeah, of course.
experience.
Well, look, I you know, we'll wrap it up shortly, but yes, of course, people need to spend the time because we get tricked. We get tricked into thinking we don't have choices and we don't have options, and there is somebody else that's responsible for. And this is where the victim thing comes from. At the end of the
Mm,
day, you can go around blaming everybody else, or you can decide to do something about it. It's not, you know, and okay, you might not be able to. Like, let's say, like for example, you haven't got the money to put the heat on. I was reading something this morning, and people are, you know, living with temperature of 7 degrees in their house because they can't afford to put the heating on. You can't fix that immediately. What you can do is say, I'm not going to accept this anymore. I'm not going to accept this anymore. And I'm going to work towards, so I'm going to spend my day, I don't know, go out for a run or do something that warms you up. And then you're going to spend some time thinking about how, or working on how you can change that situation. And you can change it. It's not a problem. You can change it, but you can't change it staying where you are.
yeah, it needs some action.
needs
They
something to
need some
happen.
decision making. Like I'm fed up with how it is. I need it to be different, and
Yeah,
go and find a way to do it.
go and move to Spain where it's not so cold all the time. Like or do like what I'm saying is that whatever you decide to do, whatever you decide to do, it isn't going to be easy because it means changing what you're doing, and like we're all constantly bombarded by the need to change things, and that's just an inevitability. Life's like that. But you have to accept that change is inevitable, and that it's not something to fear. It's only something that people are frightened of because it means they've got to do something different every day from what they're doing now. And of course, that's quite scary because human beings have this disease almost in trying to be comfortable all the time. And why are we the only creature on this planet that's entitled to be comfortable? Like I was talking to someone this morning. Ultimately, if you break a leg and you're a fox, you're dead because you can't eat.
You
And
can't
you're
go
not
and
going to
hunt,
you're not going
and
to
you just
go to Fox Hospital, are you? And they're going to look after you and eat, let you out when you're better. You basically can't eat. And if it's winter, you're dead because you can't move. It's quite harsh. Humans aren't even subject to that, are they? They're not. We're not. We don't have the same. Okay, not in this country, but okay, maybe in other countries you could be experiencing the same thing, but it's less so. And we're very lucky. We're very lucky to be able to survive with serious conditions like that. Yeah, because it is serious. I mean, a broken leg, a broken limb. You're
mm,
you're incapacitated. You can't do anything.
yeah.
You can't go and play football, can you? You can't.
Well,
And
if that's your business.
well, yeah, I
But
mean,
yeah, the power of now. There's a book even on that topic, which, as I said, used to trigger me. Like, yeah, the power of nine. Now it's easy for him to say that, but now I understand how, and I treasure every now moment.
we don't have any other time, do we? Like you've only got this second, and then the next second, and the next second, and the next.
Yeah.
And these they all add up to what's called your
It
future.
seems like humans are the only people who can do all of this separation of the now and the past and the future, because the animals, they just seem to be
They
not
live in the now.
making too much sense of things. They just live.
Yeah, they live in the now. And in fact, if we
Mm.
stop trying to work out what's going on and we just live in the now, we'd have a better life. I think all this planning and all this reflection, it has a value. Do you know what I mean? But don't not to spend all your time there. I don't know. Like the fox goes, I won't go there again because I broke my leg last time. Like I don't think the fox comes up with those decisions. It's like or any creature particularly. It's humans that spend all their
Maybe they do
time.
have a little bit of a preserving brain, that very old,
Well, yeah, because we're
I don't
talking
know,
to the guy.
lizard brain or whatever they call that, the brain
We're talking about
stem,
the guy with the rats, and he says,
the
if something comes
survival,
back and
yeah.
they come back and they've eaten somewhere and they die, yeah, probably the others won't go there. Do you know what I mean? It's like they won't go and eat that same thing because they've experienced. So there is some kind of group intelligence
Group
there, some way,
intelligence, yeah,
which
that's the
helps
word.
which helps these species to maintain themselves. But with humans, we I don't know. We seem to have got, and I think it's even more so now. We've kind of got wrapped up in this doing what
Well,
other
it's
people.
fear based. Everything is fear based, and it's being
Yeah,
fed from every direction where you look. And that's why it's very important to be mindful of what you are consuming, not just food and water wise, but also information wise.
mm.
It
Anyway,
separates us from the now, right?
there you go. Yeah, that was a bit of a now thing. Here we go for now. Hope you enjoyed that, and we're back soon.
Bye.